the solution.
YouTube is going on, solution kicks, different backdrop. Got some stuff going on out of the room. But we are going to talk about a dude who has been taking over the media. Okay, I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not gonna post his picture. But you're gonna know who I'm talking about clearly. I went back and redid this video because I wanted to do a little bit more research before I looked like I was being emotional. Okay, and when I'm stating a rebuttal or a stance or my editorial, if you will, on the situation, I want to be as accurate as possible and give you the most up-to-date foundation of what I'm going to say. I don't want to just hit the record button and slap it into the editor. After watching a YouTuber that I subscribe to, I watch all of those. Cutie Queen, she went in. Shout out to you, Q. I redid the video because of that, and not saying that you got emotional about it, but this is something to be very passionate about, and you know, it should invoke a certain feeling when someone makes these statements, and you're talking about a legacy of pain, suffering, and hurt of a people that is one of the person saying is of the people who were suppressed, well, oppressed, still oppressed, and now still suppressed. I really didn't want to bring this into sneaker YouTube, but it's linked to it. It really is linked to it because a lot of you have made a lot of money because of this individual's collaborations in line of sneakers with sneaker companies. And I'm not a fan. The closest thing I have to a shoes, I have a pair of Air Max FB Yeezy 1s. Those are for sale. I'm not going to be wearing those, okay? First off, let me get into one element of what I'm going to talk about. And I can't do this because it will raise, if I leave this part out, it's going to raise eyebrows. And you'll say, hey, you know, the solution, you should have put in the part about what you also do, okay? Because you're going to shed light what a lot of people are missing. And I've been tagged in comments on social media and everything because people want to hear my part on it because of what I do. I am a radio DJ, okay? And let's say his first 3 albums, I was a fan. I think his first 3 albums were incredible. Things happened in his life, and he kind of went off the deep end a little bit. And I understand. You make music that is that's indicative of what's going on in your life. So this individual is about to release an album. In this day and time, the position of A&R and publicist for an artist on a record label is almost non-existent. No one's shaping an artist's image and way forward to appeal to their core audience and bring in newer listeners and fans of their music and their image. The artist simply relies on social media like we're doing right now. And basically the formula has been be as provocative as possible and outlandish as possible, and it will drum up some interest in what you're doing. People who aren't even casual listeners of your music will start to hashtag you and link you. So we're in YouTube. We know all about the power of hashtags. Or now they, you know, if you aren't pushing 100K, your hashtag's almost useless. But you know what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to link you to like type of videos, if you will, or like information, similar information. That's the word. Similar information is the best word to use. Words. So when you do that, your visibility increases. Now you have search engine optimization. You go right to the top. You're trending. What's going on? So long story short, he's married into a family where they basically have absolutely no talent whatsoever. Their talent is attaching themselves to big name athletes and celebrities, namely black athletes. Okay, I didn't want to make this a race issue totally, but it really is. It really is a race issue, without a doubt. And it's peculiar because of what he said. You would think somebody of this ethnicity would never go down this path. So the question I asked to you, artists of the recording genre, what's your soul worth? Okay? What's your soul worth? And that's why I don't watch unreality TV, because I always think about people later on in life and they view themselves and go, dang, why did I do that? Man, I look horrible. I've looked at myself, much, much younger self, in videos and pictures back when I was young and youthful and everything, just having fun. And I'm not too sure about my imagery that I was posing. Even though it wasn't horrible, but looking at the growth and the maturation process of myself, I'm like, man, I really wouldn't want those pictures to be public. That's not a good Throwback Thursday thing I would want people to see about me. But money drives people to do certain things. I personally think he did not have to do this, but that's just the way it is. You have I call it the 50 Cent effect. Back in the early 2000s when 50 was bubbling, it was beef. I'm beefing with everybody, and it was positioned as competition. And that sold records. It really did. It sold his mixtapes because he was beefing with Ja Rule, and he was beefing with everybody. He was taking shots at everybody. And he actually started off in the 90s with a song called How to Rob, where he was joking about robbing well-known rappers. And some people got rap is unique. You aren't supposed to get old, and you aren't supposed to joke about people. You can't be competitive with people. It's a very, very aggressive and hardcore art form, with tough guys who are really, really sensitive underneath of it. It's weird if you try to get into the personal dynamics of it. In reality, it just doesn't mix. You can't be that way. But the youth try to shape it and everything, and they feel like once you reach 30, you shouldn't be rapping anymore. You can't make dope music. But that's off the beaten path a little bit. So what this individual said was, it was a choice. Let's dissect that for a second. So you're actively enslaved. And what this person is trying to allude to, I'm playing the devil's advocate here, okay? As like I said, I wanted to watch as much information on this guy and see where he was going with this, and I'm gonna come back to this to say, what was he getting at? Now, my educated mind, okay, that shunned the public school system process of presenting his story to me as a young black male, and looking at things and going, something's not right with this story. It doesn't make sense. But history is told by the victors, okay? It's told by the victors, or the people who were able to present it to you. I surmise what this guy was saying was, after so long, what didn't you do to get out of that situation? Hence Nat Turner. Hence the revolt in Haiti. Your Harriet Tubmans, your Marcus Garveys. These people that your history books don't want you to read about in depth. Okay? Just maybe that's what he was trying to format for us. But the other side of me, given his previous action, says that he was going for shock value. Okay? For shock value. I need to say the most outlandish, just mind-blowing things to get people talking, and my name's going to be buzzing over and over and over and over again. Then it became clear with two things. Here's a song with T.I. where they're having a conversation. about the plight of a people and your message and things like that. Then he does an interview with Charlemagne the God. And if you know, Charlemagne and him have had some very, very hilarious and very strong interviews, if you will. We'll go strong. But what you don't read about, I read Charlemagne the God's book because of my background, is that there's a respect between those two. So you watch that video, then you think about all the TMZ stuff and everything, and the phone calls to people and stuff, and the internet, social media replies, and people just saying that he's in a sunken place, and you know, all kinds of names and such for a black person that does certain things, you know, the Trump alignment, if you will. Had he went with the Charlemagne the God video first, then everything else, his antics on TMZ and everywhere else would have been watered down. People would say that's really not what he's thinking, because I watched the Charlemagne the God video. I don't know how he got to that point. What was he doing? It would basically be like, okay, this is a ruse. But because this occurred reverse, the Charlemagne the God video looks like it's cleaning up what he said before, but it's too late. Okay, people have already shaped it. I just look at it as he's positioned himself to be the most talked about element in music and the internet and the media before his album drops. So people want to be curious what he has on this album. And that T.I. song kind of goes against what he said. But make no mistake, no one's going to really forgive him for saying that. And one thing you learn in media, because that's what I do, is something called risk management. It's basically knowing what to say, how to say it, and when to say it, and why you are saying it. You go the 5 W's. The when you say it is kind of iffy at times. That can kind of ebb and flow. But the other W's are totally in control. Some artists actually position their interviews where they'll hand you a card, okay? Or their manager or their publicist will say, do not ask this person about this question when the interview's over. Chris Brown used to do that because of the situations he was going through. As someone who's interviewed people, I don't really like that, because then it's kind of like a formatted interview. It's not raw. It doesn't feel genuine. But at the same time, as an artist, you have to know what are your triggers and what they might say to you, given the format and the platform of that medium that you're on, you know, and what they tend to do. But with that, it's perpetuity with the internet. Like right now, this video is out there. People could go back and look and say, hey, the Solution dropped this video about this, and it's there. I don't like what he said. We're not going to hire him, or things like that. And I'm not shaping my words. My thing is, I'm trying to give a two-sided viewpoint of what he said and how it affected people. I'm not going to bash the guy, but I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to help him out in his keep you in your face type thing that he's doing, because it's purely the way of that family. And when I keep saying the weight of that family, what I mean is what I said before. They attach themselves to an athlete, you know, a musician, you know, rappers typically, and they basically use their visibility to enhance their visibility. And you see it. You know, there was some cruise missile strikes ordered about a month ago, and this man's wife appeared half naked. You know, you hadn't heard a peep out of her. So, well, let's break the internet. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, please push the rock up off you and come out and have a look around. Turn the lights on. But what he has done is basically expose a lot of people. He used the term free thought. You can have free thought, but you will not minimize the the history of suffering, the plight of a people, the diaspora, and the continuing oppression of a people by your words. You just didn't position, and you weren't eloquent enough to actually say what you're going to say if that was your point. If your point was just shock value, then yeah, you're going to deal with this. Back to the sneaker part before I close this out. In the group I belong to, there are a lot of people who own, his sneakers. And basically, like, I'm not going to stop wearing them. I like them. People were attacking me for wearing them. You had no clue what this person was going to do. Maybe you just like the shoes. Maybe you don't have a lot of dope sneakers and you want to wear those. But you do understand they're going to garner some attention, okay? And the thing with attention, it's kind of like a woman buying a really provocative dress, and it's very revealing. And she goes out. She feels good about the purchase, and she might have bought it because it makes her feel really good about herself, and she wants the attention. The problem with attention, okay, and this is food for thought for my female listeners and males, you can't control the attention you're going to receive. Everybody is not like me. And I have female viewers who know me personally that watch my sneaker videos and say, the guy's a gentleman, okay? The guy, I know what he's not going to say to me, okay? I know what he will say to me, okay? Even if I didn't know him, I know he would never approach me in that manner. That's me. You're hoping for people with that type of approach. But there's going to be some males that don't know how to properly compliment you. And that's the part you can't control. So you're going to get upset when somebody comments on what you're wearing. And that's the part about your words. Once you put it out there, it's there. All right? You can't pull it back. It's not a fish. You can't say, oh, that's the wrong size. That's not what I meant. All right? Throw that away. Let's cast the line again and try this again. You can't do that with your words, people. All right? And a lot of you sneaker YouTubers are suffering from that right now via another situation that's going on that's been dragging on for over a year. You want the raw element when you go on these blogs and these rants and stuff like that, and you want to be natural. But some of you might want to have some index cards or a teleprompter and say, don't mention this, mention this. Because I'm trained, okay? I'm trained. My job is to sit in front of a mic and a camera. And I have risk management before I got into this in my previous career because that was part of my job too. I had mic shoved in front of my face from time to time. I know when I can't comment because I'm not an official representative of the organization. I can't do that, all right? And the worst thing you say is no comment because it means you have something to hide. All right, this is purely for the love of the culture, but this is something that's part of the culture. And I'm out of here. I've said enough. Boom.